Americans who visited Europe, what was your biggest surprise? I was in Italy and wanted to grab a bite and a beer for some lunch. I left the flat and I was flabbergasted to find the entire town was empty. Everything was closed, not even the neighborhood dogs were around. In the Netherlands, no one uses cars. There is an incredibly developed public transport system, and many people use bicycles to get to work. Your like and subscription will really help my channel. I lived in Germany for 8 years. There were recycling bins on every street corner. Every large store has a bottle collection point, and most Germans regularly take their waste there. When I visited Prague, water cost 2 crowns and beer cost 1. I was 15 years old, ordering a beer at McDonald's. No ID checks. It boggled my mind how old everything was, and it was still integrated into everyday life. Like in the UK, drinking in pub that had been in the same spot since the 11th century, or in Prague, going to club in a 14th century stone cellar and staying a hotel brewery that had been operating since the 15th century. The oldest building in my vicinity is from the 1750s, which is prehistoric by US standards. Someone in Europe sees a building that is half a millennia old and they're like, let's turn this into a disco. I loved it. I live in England, and the village near me has a pub from the early 1700s that's seen as modern because the village itself and the surrounding buildings, and other pub is from the pre-Doomsday Book era, 11th century. I forget sometimes just how old this country is. In America, 100 years is a long time. In Europe, 100 miles is a long distance. Going to a soccer game in Italy. When buying a ticket, they needed to know which team I was rooting for to determine where I could sit. Then, during the game, people were setting things on fire. Paying to use a public restroom. I get why though, just a horrible feeling if you really had to go and you don't have any change. The littering in a lot of places really blew me away, especially France. Part of this is due to the amount Europeans smoke, I guess, because at times in Paris, the cobblestone felt paved with cigarette butts. Y'all get how many days of paid vacation, and sick leave, and public health care, and you don't live in a socialist hellhole like I've been told? America, you lied to me. In Spain, everyone appears to be very thin, yet I swear eats a loaf of bread a day. In Germany, they have to give something like 60 days notice if they are planning to fire or planning to quit a job. For some reason, that seemed so crazy, but I realized being fired with no notice is not cool, and we should have a similar system, honestly. Every meal in Paris taking 3 hours. I loved the culture, and I'm all about eating a relaxing meal, but sometimes it was just like, what the hell, when we were on a schedule and had to meet up with a tour group or had reservations for something, yet the same 3 hours. In Scotland, there was a bomb threat at a local gas station. The news anchor that was covering it interviewed locals about how they felt about this terrifying event. Every response fell along the lines of, I don't know much about that, but I'm sure the government is taking care of it. The faith in the government and not wanting to butt in blew my mind. New video every day. Your like and subscription will really help my channel.